And the ones that have been drinking for 10, 15 years, look at their faces. Look at how debauched they are anyway now.
No.
It amazes me how some of them are actually still walking around.
Back at the house, a bottle is found and opened in honor of those who have drowned.
And I actually believe that Arthur Smith doesn't drink nearly as much as anybody thinks, because he has a persona of being the smoking, drinking, bon vivant type. Malcolm Hardee, yeah, to me, is always pissed. I think he is always pissed, but I might be wrong.
He does drink too much, 6 days a week, sometimes 7.
4 or 5.
6.
Well averaged out over the years.
Malcolm Hardee's a very entertaining guy. I mean, Arthur Smith's a big, he's a good fun to be around. I mean, they are the big kings of drinking. I wouldn't like to see him in the morning. I would have thought there's all sorts of shit coming up, when you're coughing all your crap up and trying to get that crap out your nose. I would dread to think how bad and what kind of shape they're in.
First time I set eyes on Malcolm was at Up the Creek on stage, and he was actually, the actor on stage was a bloke called Chris Lynham. And Chris was doing all right, and I was sitting in the audience thinking, well, this is okay. And then suddenly, from nowhere, or appeared from this preposterous naked figure.
Vision.
Figure. Horror. And he just walked so casually onto the stage, completely naked, well, apart from his socks and his glasses and a pint of beer, and sat down in a deck chair, I think, and then started reading a newspaper, and it was just very, very funny. Very funny.
I don't know what it is about Malcolm, but he just likes to show his genitalia, and he has shown it on my stage every single time he's got up there. He became very well known by 3 of them doing the Greatest Show on Legs, and the Greatest Show on Legs, of course, was nudity with balloons.
With the Greatest Show on Legs, yeah, we were always drunk, to be honest.
I'm not one of these people that exposes himself. That's a certain kind of drunk, that. Get the knob out all the time. Malcolm likes to get his bits out. Malcolm loves a bit of exposure.
Yeah, I think comedians just take their clothes off for the sake of it are a bit sad.
In Malcolm's case, clearly it's a different thing. He's raised it to the level of art.
And I don't know what it is about boys trying to show off, because it's not funny and it's not clever.
With men, I think it's kind of a laddish thing to do, and it's a laugh, and it's something you can tell stories about and go, cool, I was so pissed last night that ...
I went down to the Tunnel, which was like legendarily the sort of roughest gig ever on the comedy circuit. And Jerry Sadovitz was on, who's like, very, very loud and noisy. And while he was on, this bloke was just fast asleep in the front row like this, just absolutely gone. And he did say, fuck it, bloke, fucking sleep, did all this stuff. But the bloke, at no point did he wake up. And then Malcolm Hardee, who was the compere down there, walked on, hey, bloke, sleep. And the audience, who were a vicious clan rally of an audience, as one man, all started going, piss on him, Malcolm, piss on him. And he went, you all right? But he didn't do it immediately. He had the perfect comedy timing. And he just started to tell jokes and drinking to fill up his bladder. It was like he'd prepared it, And they're going crazy, and he's going, all right, and he's doing 2 bucks in a pub, doing all these jokes. Piss on him, Malcolm, I'm going to... And like for 5 minutes, he's just doing this, and the bloke's still fast, everyone's piss on him, real hateful stuff. And then eventually, he flops his old man out, which if you've ever seen it, is a very old man. And it did piss all over this bloke. But it wasn't like a dribbly piss, it was like, with the lighting from where I was stood, it was, no one could have lit this better. And there was the big arc of the compere coming over and dribbling down this bloke's face. And the crowd are all, as a man, 300 people stood up, ah! A disgusting scene. And the bloke still hadn't woken up, and he's, like for a minute or so, there's just this stream. It was like a waterfall of piss just going down him. He's wearing all designer clothes and everything. And he's just there asleep, and it's just going on and on and on. And eventually, Malcolm, zips himself up. All right, see you next week, good night. And that's the end of the night, and everyone leaves. And about 10 minutes later on, there's an empty club, except for this one bloke who's sat there, covered in piss, still fast asleep. And eventually his mates nudged him and woke him up. And from across the room, I saw him, and they were going... And he sort of looked, and he went... And he was over the moon that he'd somehow been, you know, a big part of the show, just as a piss recipient.